Hey everyone, my name is Riley, and in this video I'm going to show you the best, easiest and most affordable way to start a non-profit. We will be going through everything that you need to know when setting up a non-profit, as well as how you can actually form your non-profit in less than 10 minutes. Now, forming a non-profit is a little bit more technical and a little bit more complex than setting up other types of business entities, as we are looking for specific things like tax exemption, and we want to remain fully and completely legal. So this does require a few extra steps. With that being said though, I will show you the best company formation agent on the market that will handle most of this for you, and they will give you access to unlimited phone and email support. So if anything pops up later down the line, or if you do have any questions or issues pertaining specifically to the legalities of your non-profit, you can give them a call and they will give you some advice. To be fully transparent, I am an affiliate of the company that I will recommend. So if you do use my link and if you do form your non-profit using that company, I may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. After doing extensive research on the formation services that are available, I believe this is the best option, which is why I'm recommending it. Now, on the left is the 10 main steps that you will need when it comes to forming a non-profit. So let's go through all of these in detail. Step number 1 is choosing a name for your non-profit. And whilst this is pretty straightforward and easy to do, there are still a few things that you should keep in mind. Firstly, you want to check for uniqueness and availability, so just make sure that the name that you've chosen is unique and is not already in use by another organization or business. To do this, you can search for your state's database to verify that your chosen name is available, and it's also a good idea to check that the website name, the website address for your non-profit is available as well, because you want congruent branding. To do this, I recommend using Namecheap. You can simply go to namecheap.com, search for the domain that you would like for your non-profit, and then Namecheap will tell you if this domain is available. Something else to keep in mind is that some states do have naming rules for non-profits, such as requiring terms like Inc., corporation or foundation to indicate a non-profit status. Once you have your non-profit's name, the next thing that you need to do is draft your non-profit's articles of incorporation. The articles of incorporation make your non-profit a legal entity, and this document is going to be filed with your state and is going to include important details about your organization. Some of the things that this is going to include is the name of the non-profit, the statement of purpose, so what your non-profit's mission is, and making sure it aligns with the IRS tax-exempt guidelines. You also need to include your registered agent, which is a designated person within the non-profit to receive legal documents. Some other things that you need to include is a non-profit status statement confirming that the organization is a non-profit, a dissolution clause which basically says that if the company is dissolved, all of the assets will go to another tax-exempt organization. Incorporators and the people forming the non-profit should also be listed, and you should also include the board of directors. Once you have drafted up your articles of incorporation, you want to submit these articles to the state's Secretary of State and pay any filing fees that are required. These filing fees are going to differ state by state. Another reason that the articles of incorporation are so important is because this is a requirement to become IRS tax exempt. Next, you want to go ahead and apply for a Federal Employee Identification Number, also known as an EIN. An EIN is a unique identifier that is issued by the IRS for your non-profit, and this is essentially like a social security number for your business. And just like a social security number, it is required for a lot of different things. Some things that you will need an EIN for is your tax exempt status. You also need an EIN to open business bank accounts, you need it to hire employees, and you also need it to file taxes. Step number 4 is to file a 501c3 tax exempt status with the IRS. Essentially, to qualify for federal tax exemption, your non-profit needs to apply for this 501c3 status with the IRS. Some reasons why this is important is, of course, tax exemption, so your non-profit will not pay federal income tax on money earned from charitable activities. This form will also give you eligibility for grants, so a lot of foundations and government agencies require this 501c3 status to apply for grants, and it's also going to give your donors incentives, as donations made made to your non-profit will be tax deductible for donors. There are two different forms that you can submit in order to apply for this. There is Form 1023, this is for larger non-profits, or Form 1023 Easy, and this is for smaller non-profits with under $50,000 in revenue. Step number 5 is going to be creating bylaws for your non-profit. Bylaws are the internal rules that govern your non-profit's operations, and these are going to include things like your mission statement, your board structure, your officer duties, and also a conflict of interest policy. These bylaws are not usually submitted to the state or the IRS, but are absolutely essential for transparency and effective governance within your non-profit. Step number 6 is going to be appointing a board of directors, and your board of directors are responsible for legal compliance and making key decisions for your non-profit. States generally require at least 3 members, but it is definitely worth researching this, checking your state for their requirements on your board of directors. Step number 7 is filing state-specific forms. So in addition to all the federal requirements that we have already spoken about, your non-profit must also meet state-specific regulations for the state that you are in. This includes submitting your articles of incorporation, your charitable solicitation registration, and also applying for state tax exemptions. The way that you file these is really going to depend on the state that you are in, so the best thing to do is check your state's Secretary of State or non-profit agency for the specific requirements and fees for your state. Another thing that you need to do on the state level, and step number 8, is going to be applying for state tax exemption status. So once you have obtained the federal tax exemption status, you need to also apply for the state tax exemptions, which can once again vary by state. Some common exemptions that you will usually find on the state level is sales tax exemptions, income tax exemptions, and also property tax if you own the property for charitable use. Step number 9 is only going to be applicable for certain non-profits, and this is specifically if you plan to fundraise. If you do plan to fundraise, many states require you to register with the Attorney General or some similar agency. Once again, the best way to do this is to check if your state even requires registration, and from there, if it does, complete the application for your state and pay the required fee. Then from there, step number 10 and the last step is simply to maintain compliance and keep your non-profit in good standing. Some of the main things that this is going to require is filing annual reports with both your state and the IRS, submitting Form 990 to the IRS, and holding regular board meetings and keeping accurate financial records. With all of that being said, and now that you know the general guidelines in terms of forming a non-profit, I'm now going to show you how you can use a company called bizee to do most of this for you. So to get started with bizee, you can click on the top link down in the description. Once again, this is an affiliate link, so if you do use that link, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it really does help me create more videos like this. Once you have clicked on that link and you are taken over to this page, all we need to do is simply scroll down right here to where it says launch your LLC in minutes. And we are not going to be forming an LLC, of course. So we want to go to LLC and we want to change this to non-profit. Once that is selected, we can then go to step 2 right here. And this is where we can choose from all of these states of where you want to incorporate your non-profit. So in this example, I'm just going to select Kentucky right here. And once you have selected the non-profit status and the state, we click right here on Start My Business. This is then going to take us over to this screen where we can see we have these 3 plans to choose from. Now, the plan that you go for really depends on how much support you want and how much of the entire process you want bizee to take care of for you. We can see with all of these, even with this basic plan right here, that is completely free, and the only thing that we need to pay for is the required state fee that we would have to pay anyway. With this, we get the preparing and filing the articles of organization. We also get a free registered agent for the first year. And then down here, we can see these additional add-ons that we could potentially add if we just want 1 or 2 of these without jumping up to one of these more premium tiers. So as an example, we might just want to go for the EIN business tax number right there. And we can also go for the corporate bylaws and get bizee to handle both of these for us. And we can see this is only going to come to $108 rather than $199. The one that I would recommend though is definitely go with at least the standard right here. And the reason behind this is because with the standard, you get unlimited phone and email support. And what this essentially means is that if you have any issues or any questions that come up pertaining to your non-profit and you don't really know what to do, you can just give bizee a call and they will help guide you through the process. So from here, we can choose the plan that we would like and then click on Get Started. We then go in and enter in the non-profit name that we would like to go for. So I'm just going to call this GeForce North. We can then choose the designator. So the reason that this is required is because in Kentucky, as we can see, this is a state that requires a designated name at the end. So we could go ahead and choose this right here. And then we can enter in a brief description of the business purpose. Once we have entered this, we can click on next. And the next area is going to ask, should your nonprofit have members? So once again, these questions are going to vary state by state, depending on the rules and regulations for the state you are incorporating your nonprofit in. So just read through this area and essentially see what it is asking. And then you can go ahead and answer these questions. So we just go through and fill in the rest of this information. Then we can enter in some personal information for the main contact person who is filing this nonprofit. From here, we can then choose if you want to use your own address to register this nonprofit from, or alternatively, we can go for a professional business address. And this right here, what it shows up in this box is going to be the virtual address that you use for your business. Essentially, the benefits of this are maintaining privacy by using a commercial address. bizee will scan all of the incoming mail for you and then forward it to the designated person who needs to receive that mail. And you do get instant alerts with 24/7 access to your mail online. So once again, this is completely optional of whether you want to use this or not. Once we have selected, we then go down and enter in your contact address right here. And then from here, bizee are going to try and upsell you this. So you can look through and see if you want the expedited filing or the contract library. So you can choose if you want that or not. From here, we can then go in and provide the director's information for the nonprofit. So we just go through and set all of this up right here. We click into each one and then add each of the directors. Then we can go down and add the president or CEO, the secretary. We can add the treasurer right here. If you don't understand what any of these mean, once again, you can just read through this. Or if you need further help, you can go down. I don't think you can see this because I'm in the way. So I'll just scoot myself out of the way, but we have a chat right here where you can get in contact with bizee if you do need them. Once all of that is entered, we can go ahead and click on next. We can then choose the registered agent information. So whether you would like to use bizee as the registered agent for free for this first year, or whether you would like to act as your own, it's going to be much easier to assign bizee to this. But once again, this is completely personal preference. Next, we can get our EIN and tax identification number, which we spoke about earlier. So to get this, you can choose who is going to be in charge of this. We can then choose how we want to obtain the EIN with either your social security number or ITIN. With ITIN, it's going to take a lot longer, as you can see, up to 12 weeks to obtain. So if you can go with an SSN, this is a much better idea. It's then going to ask if you want to set up small business banking. So these are essentially banking providers that bizee has partnered with. They're completely optional if you want to go with one of these. If you do, it does make it a little bit easier, as everything will be available inside of bizee. But once again, it's up to you whether you want to use their partners or whether you want to find your own banking provider. We also have the option to book a free tax strategy consultation. This is completely free when you sign up with bizee. So you can choose you are not interested if you would not like this, but we can also turn this on and we will receive a free business tax consultation. So there's no point in not doing this. Then we are going to get an order summary for everything that we have set up and all of the information we have provided. So just go through and make sure that all of this is accurate. And then we can click on next. And from here, you just enter in your billing information, click on complete and pay, and then bizee will take care of forming your nonprofit for you and stay in contact via email and phone. So there you go. That is how you can form a nonprofit. As you can see, we can break it down into 10 easy steps, but actually going through and doing each of these requires a lot of compliance. It requires a lot of paperwork. And that is why I recommend bizee to just streamline and make the whole process easier. If you did enjoy this video, all I ask is that you subscribe to the channel. That will be very much appreciated. And until next time, take it easy.